Hi, I'm with Badger Basket, here to go through the assembly instructions for the doll crib with cabinet, wheels, bedding, and mobile. Patterns may vary, but the assembly will be the same. Before we get started, make sure you look at all the parts. If you have anything damaged or you have any missing pieces, contact Badger Basket as shown at the end of the instructional video. So let's get started. To get started with step 1, what I'm going to do first is adding the handles onto the doors. So on each door, you're going to have a side that has the decorative edging. What you're going to want to do is to put the round handle on that side and put the smallest of the screws going through that hole, and we'll screw those into place. Once you have the handles in the doors, I'm going to kind of combine steps 1 and step 2 to make this a little bit easier. And I'll kind of explain. So if we're going to take one of the side panels here, and if you'll notice that there's a side that has screws that have the indentation, that is the outside. What you want is the inside that has the smaller holes, and that's where we're going to be placing all of our parts. So we're first going to put on the side rail that has the door stopper on it. And what we're going to be doing is placing that in the top 2 holes. Now make sure you have the groove to the inside and the door stopper going down. And we'll put those 2 screws in place. The reason I put the side rail on first is it makes it a little bit easier to put the doors on underneath before we put in the bottom rail. So what I'm actually going to do is kind of explain to you what we're going to do and then lay it down to make it a little bit easier. So make sure that the handle goes towards the center, but it needs to be in front of that door stopper. This pin on the side of the door here will then pop up into place. Once it pops up into place, then you can put on that bottom rail. So we're going to put both doors on, having the handle to the middle, the decorative edging facing outward, and both of those pins popped up in place. Then we're going to be putting on that bottom rail to hold those in place. You'll notice that this one only has 1 groove. This is the one you want to do with the side of the doors, not the one that has the 2 grooves. The groove will be facing towards the inside of the crib with the holes for the doors facing upward. So I'm going to lay this down to make it a little bit easier to screw those all in place. But just make sure that you have the handles facing towards the front, the doors popped in those holes to hold them in place, and then we'll screw in that bottom rail. Once you have that bottom rail in place, you should have the 2 doors with the knobs facing forward and able to open. The next thing we're going to do is repeat the same step, except with the back panels. So this one you will also use the side rail. Now this one will have 2 grooves and not the door stopper. So what you want is the groove to be on the bottom, facing down, and towards the inside. And we'll screw this one in place. Then we're also going to be having the bottom rail, which will have 2 grooves in this one. We need 1 groove facing upward and 1 going across. So we'll screw that in the bottom hole here. And that concludes step 2. So moving on to step 3, If you put all of your bars in place correctly, you will be able to slide in 3 panels. The easiest way to do this is to tip this up on its side here, so that the panels can slide in a little easier. When looking at the 3 panels, you're going to have 2 that are plain and 1 that has 3 holes in it. The 2 plain ones are going to be the bottom of the crib part and the bottom of the cabinet piece. So what we want is the white piece going up towards the rails and slide it right in this bottom groove where these grooves should line them up. Like so. The next plain panel will be at the base of the rails in your next set of grooves with the white facing up again. The last panel you put in is the one with the 3 holes. Now you want the white facing towards the inside of the cabinet and the brown facing towards the back. So have the white facing towards the doors and the brown away from those doors. And again, slide it in the 2 grooves right down in place like so. The last part of step 3 is putting on the last side panel. Remember that those indented screw marks are going to be the outside of the crib. So we're going to place it on top and line up those 6 holes and put all the screws going down, which should match up to all the side rails we put in earlier. Once you've completed step 3, let's move on to step 4. Step 4 is where we're going to be putting the wheels on the bottom. So I'm going to tip this whole crib upside down here. So that you can get to the base easily. Now when you look at these wheels, you're going to see that there's 2 holes that will correspond to the 2 holes on each leg. Well, we'll get those holes to match up with the wheels. We're going to take a bolt that'll go in from the outside towards the inside and put that all the way through. Then take a nut and we're going to take that and screw that in place here so they're nice and tight. And we'll do that to all 4 wheels. Once you're done with step 4, let's move on to step 5. Step 5 is putting the mobile together. So what we're going to do first is you're going to take this cross piece here and all these little decorative pieces that have the strings on them. If you look at the very end of this cross piece, there are 2 holes. What you want to do is put this string up through the outermost hole, back down the inner hole, and tie a knot so that the knot is on the underside within that groove. So let's tie all these together. You're going to put 1 on each edge. And it's a little tricky to try to get them through those holes. Once all you have the decorative pieces tied on, next piece you're going to grab is this curved big base. And you're going to put this guy on top here. So it just kind of clicks down in place here. So you'll have the curve with the hook on the end and the screw on this side. Now in this hook, you're going to grab this round guy and put that through the little hole that is at the top. So the hook on this part is facing down. That hook is going to go into that piece that you tied all those decorative edges to. and it'll hook in like so. For step 6, we're gonna put this decorative mobile on the crib. Now this screw part is gonna be facing out and the decorative pieces are gonna be in. Now once you have it placed on top of the side rail here, you're gonna turn this screw until it is tight and holds it in place. Like so. So you're gonna have this liner that you're gonna be putting in the bottom of the crib. So place this bottom liner across the whole thing and you're gonna fold up the sides and see that there are ties there. Tie these around the side rails at the top, all the way around. There should be 6 ties total, so let's get those tied. Once you have the crib liner in place, last thing to do is to put the doll pillow and the doll blanket inside. You can wind up the mobile and you've got the fully functional cabinet underneath. And that concludes the assembly for the doll crib with cabinet, wheels, bedding, and mobile. If you have any questions or concerns, contact Badger Basket as shown in the end of the video. Otherwise, Badger Basket thanks you for watching and enjoy.